Bonjour.
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 Each team has 20 minutes to present its case to the judges. I will hold up the time for the last 10, 5, and 2 minutes, as well as for the last 20 seconds of the presentation. During the last 10 seconds, I will indicate with my fingers the numbers of seconds remaining. If you have not finished your presentation after 20 minutes, you will be stopped in order to proceed with the Q&A period. A Q&A period of a maximum of 5 minutes is allocated to the jury at the end of your presentation. Please note that at any time you cannot say or reference the name or the location of your university.
Promouvoir l'innovation pour avoir une croissance dynamique. C'est la vision des pages jaunes et c'est ce qu'aujourd'hui on va tenter de réaliser avec notre stratégie. On veut vraiment respecter la vision des pages jaunes. Mon nom est Laurence Lefebvre et aujourd'hui je suis ici avec Kapil Mehra et Erica Schultz et nous sommes les EKL Consultants et nous allons vous présenter notre stratégie pour les pages jaunes. So, current situation, the rest of the presentation is going to be in English, but if you have any French question at the end, don't hesitate to ask them. So, for current situation, your company, well, you know it, it's a Canadian company, it's pretty big. You have more than 340,000 local businesses involved in the Yellow Pages. The group culture, it's all about innovation, being dynamic, and diversification. Thus, our strategy will try to target all your culture today. So it's important to know that in the last couple of 10 years, there has been a shift in the industry from printing to digital. And we can see that there's some misunderstanding within the internal organization about the new ways that the industry is working. Now it's more about digital, so we really have to take that into account. So the problem today is about Yellow API, which is the new interface that is used to share between different software. So from businesses that want to integrate Yellow Pages application in their websites. It acts as a directory for the different local different websites that want to have Yellow Pages. It's used by external developers, so it really has to be clear for them what the situation is all about, and we'll provide you some different solutions for that. So we identify basically 3 main problems. So the first one is about human resources. After that, there's the Yellow API development process, and there's all the project management related to that. And we've split our presentation between issues first and then solution, targeting each of the issues.
So as Laurence mentioned, there are 3 main areas of problems that we're going to target, and the first is human resources. So far with the attempted integration of Yellow API, there's been a lot of cultural issues, as Laurence mentioned. So there's been a lack of support and communication. While Yellow Pages has made the jump from print to digital, there's still a cultural lag where people see this data as proprietary and not something that should be shared for free on the internet. This has created some issues within the company, and in order to make sure Yellow API is successful and backed, supported by everyone, we need to create a shift in the minds of people in order so that everyone's on the same page and working together. So that's the first step to making Yellow API successful. Next is the lack of a change management specialist. So far, that is something that the Yellow API team is missing, and we will need to be hiring one in order to make sure Yellow API is successful. So there's a lot of important training and education that needs to go on, and without this individual, the project will not be as successful as it can be. Finally, upper management support is really important when a rollout is going through a company. So right now we have Matthew Gould, who is kind of on the same page without the lack of support and communication. There hasn't been enough information shared with everyone in a really rigorous way to make sure everyone's on the same page. So once upper management is also on the same page, those that specifically in marketing, will be able to follow suit and look up to someone that they respect. Next, we have project management issues. So this is the way in which a team will work to create the yellow API system. So there's some conflict in terms of the methodology that will be used. We have some higher-level individuals who are fans of the waterfall method, where some people who will be actually creating the project are looking more to work in more of an agile method. So working together and creating stuff throughout the process. So in order for this to run smoothly, once again, everyone will have to be on the same page in terms of project management and working together with similar styles. Next is in terms of time. So right now we are 1 week behind schedule, and there is a really strict date that this needs to be rolled out by about November. So we want to be able to manage the project in a timely and efficient manner to make sure that we hit these targets and that Yellow API is developed as strongly as it can be. Finally, it's monitoring cost and scope. So we want to make sure that API, throughout this project management, is going to be able to be the best that it can, and we want to be able to reach as many external developers as possible, and cost is something to keep in mind always as well. And our last set of issues that we want to tackle to make sure the whole project runs smoothly is issues particularly with the Yellow API system itself. So far there's a lack of promotional plan linked to the project. We've seen that internally with people not being able to identify what the benefits are totally for clients as well as the company as a whole. So we want to make sure that this is clarified before any further steps are taken. Next is the security of information. It's really important that we take this into consideration as we are dealing with large volume of data that is a competitive advantage for Yellow Pages in the amount of reliability and accuracy that the data that they have that they provide to their external developers. Finally, we want to make sure, we want to put some metrics in place in terms of measuring success and see how the monetization of the new Yellow API system will really benefit Yellow Pages as a whole. So, moving forward, our opportunity statement is, by focusing on resolving internal conflicts, integrating the requirements determination process, and using Topcoder as a development platform, Yellow Pages would be able to successfully launch the Yellow API and avoid future project problems. So what we want to do is tackle these HR issues that I mentioned earlier, as well as use Topcoder, which my colleagues will go into later into detail as to how it can be used to develop the system to be used by Yellow Pages to benefit the whole company as well as all the clients.
We're now going to look at the recommendations that are going to tackle the specific issues that both Laurent and Erica have spoken about. So our recommendation follows three main strategies as mentioned in the opportunity statement before. First, we're focusing on resolving internal conflicts. We believe that the project can't go forward unless you tackle these human resources issues, because if people in your organization are fighting, they won't be able to, and they're not on the same page, they won't be able to conduct the project in a feasible manner. There's just going to be a lot of disagreements and the project is going to eventually fail. So the focus for now is resolving these internal conflicts and leaving the project development for later. Then we're going to move on to integrating the requirements determination. So once everyone is on the same page and the human resources issues have been tackled, so that the marketing and the sales team are on the same page as the development team, then we can get the software rolled out and it'll be successful software. So focusing on integrating the requirements determination is a core process that's part of the development process, but we want to focus on it specifically because of the fact that in the past there was disagreements, so we need to do this all over again and ensure that everyone's on the same page with regards to requirements determination. And finally, using Topcoder as a development platform. So any project focuses on three main aspects: time, scope, and budget. As of now, budget is not a major issue, but if the project is delayed even further, budget issues might come about. Additionally, currently we are 1 week behind schedule, and using Topcoder as a platform will help us save on lost time, as well as make up for the time that is used to determine the requirements. Also, Topcoder is an extremely well-used platform in itself, and it's well known as a really good source for developing high-quality code that's used by big companies all over the world. And that's why we believe Topcoder is useful, not only because it's less expensive to develop the software, but also because it will develop the software within the strict deadlines. So now focusing on the first solution, which is resolving the internal conflicts. At the moment, there are no change management. There's a change management specialist allocated to the team, but the change management specialist is not around at the moment, and hence we believe that it's crucial that the change management specialist is incorporated by hiring a new change management specialist for this project specifically. But I think there's a broader issue that comes about, which is the fact that the change management specialist isn't available to the team means that there are human resources issues from upper management that need to be tackled first. Who is responsible for ensuring that change management specialist is on every team, or that there aren't internal conflicts? Because if from the top level, there's nobody in charge of seeing who's allocated to what team, whether they're available, whether they're compatible in terms of their chemistry, their culture, whether they share the same ideas with regards to project management. If you don't have those things in line and have someone responsible in upper management for that, many projects are going to fail in the future, and the organization as a whole will lose its culture. There won't be a specific culture that the organization will have. So, excuse me, I'm just going to take a sip of water. So now we're going to talk about linking marketing and the sales team to the project. At the moment, there's nobody from the marketing department or the sales department that is on the project. But we believe that this is it's more of an opportunity than anything else. You could look into having additional monetization through this project. But if you don't have anybody on the marketing and the sales team, and you only have people from the IT team and the development team, they don't know anything about monetization or selling a product. So we need to incorporate someone from the marketing and sales team to the project. So having something like maybe focusing on a click-through rate, so for every click you can generate money. So looking at that as an additional monetization scheme and getting the team on board to look into additional avenues for monetization. This will help us to not only make this project a success, but further grow the company, further grow Yellow Pages in itself by developing new revenue streams, which is one of the core values that Yellow Pages has. With regards to communication and project explanation, Mr. Hool at the moment does not have a very technical knowledge and is unaware that whether the main issue that he faces is that he doesn't like the fact that the data is going to be free or that it's easily available. But at the end of the day, even if Yellow Pages does not provide this data is easily available anywhere else on the internet. There are so many sources for this information. The main competency lies in the fact that the data is accurate and reliable, and there's no way to move away from the fact that the data is going to be free, but you can focus on selling the fact that Yellow Pages has the most accurate, reliable, and up-to-date information at all times. Now we're going to look at integrating requirements determination. So we're hoping that by resolving the internal conflicts within those 2 months that are allocated, we can, the internal conflicts will not only be resolved, but you'll also hire someone as a VP Human Resources in the broader organization to tackle any future issues that will take place with regards to project management and team allocation. With regards to the project itself, we want to retain the waterfall methodology. The employees on our team are familiar with that methodology, and so far, any project that was conducted with the waterfall methodology has been on time, within the budget, and has followed the scope very specifically. So we don't want to move away from that and experiment too much. But we do understand that innovation is important, and you need to try out different things to see what's successful and what will fail. So we want to include a joint application development process, which focuses on integrating the sales and marketing team in the project. That would include changing the project team composition. At the moment, the project team composition has 11 employees, which includes 4 programmers. We believe that the four programmers are unnecessary for this project, especially since we're going to include Topcoder as a code development platform. So we want to reduce 2 programmers from the team, and the other 2 programmers will focus on, rather than focusing on developing code, they'll focus on monitoring and evaluating and reviewing the code that is developed through Topcoder itself. We also want to add more employees, such as a digital marketing specialist, who can focus on promotion of the third-party API on digital platforms. So instead of focusing just on hackathons and conventions, you can use a digital marketing strategy for promoting the Yellow Pages API. In addition, we want a database specialist. Security is a core concern. If Yellow Pages data is released or let out, it could be harmful to the company, and that's why you want a database specialist who's familiar with security measures with regards to database systems. And finally, the ID security specialist will work closely with the database specialist to ensure that any security with regards to the interface and the different users is maintained. As mentioned before, the other two programmers will be used to evaluate and analyze the code. I'm now going to talk about Topcoder, which is the development platform. Topcoder is a crowdsourced development platform. So let's take an example. If I want a code developed for a database system, I can determine the requirements within my own company along with my employees and my team. So we would do the same, Yellow Pages would do the same thing with the new integrated requirements determination team, which includes marketing and sales specialists. And once you determine the requirements, you can send these requirements, which are published online, and there's a competition to develop a code for this software. And we believe, Topcoder helps generate high quality code because you have coders from all over the world. You get access to untapped potential, or coders who are from all over the world. There's no restrictions with regards to your resources with regards to coding. So you really get a strong code. In addition, it's a competition-based methodology, which means you're allowed to give strict deadlines. So if any participants in the competition are not done with their code, they won't be able to win the prize. So this gives an incentive for coders to actually develop high-quality code, win the competition, win the prize money, as well as deliver a high-quality code to the final client. In addition, it helps incorporate new ideas. So coders are allowed to share ideas as to how the software could be developed, how the software could be improved further. So it's a very integrated process in itself. In addition, it's cheaper and it's faster. So there's no way by which this could have a detrimental effect to the project. And in fact, Topcoder is used by big companies such as IBM, Facebook, and Microsoft. And since Yellow Pages focuses on innovation as a core value, we believe that this is one aspect where you could innovate and use this as a project management tool. In terms of the benefits, as mentioned before, it tackles time, scope, and budget issues. In addition, you have strict deadlines. It's broken into different coding modules, which ensures the security of the code itself. As well as there's a low reward requirement, as there are already high incentives with regards to learning new code or new ideas or approaches to code development. That it's more of an intrinsic motivation that these coders have to develop the code. Finally, it provides the opportunity and gives us time to resolve the internal conflicts. So the old methodology was 4 programmers changing every month. How are the new programmers supposed to understand the requirements if they're changing every month? Instead of that, using Topcoder, there's a strong understanding of the requirements, and the coders can really target the software to ensure that it's of a high quality.
So now for implementation, first we really want to start by resolving the internal conflict, because we think that's essential if you want the project to be a success after. Even if you use a crowdsourced platform as Topcoder, you need to have people inside of the organization to interact with them. So we really need to tackle those internal conflicts first. We think that might take about a month, but that's just approximation, right? After that, we would like to gather all the requirements for the system so that we can provide that to Topcoder for them to start after to develop the actual system of Yellow Pages. Meanwhile, we would like to develop new project management approaches for future because there's so many ways that those problems could have been avoided before. And now. So as future consideration, we really believe that the project management approach should be reviewed by the newly hired VP Human Resources those decisions comes at the top, and those problems have to be tackled. Factors to consider, maybe cross-functional teams, because marketing people have to interact in some way with the IT people, and that's very important to believe. Analysis of availability and hiring or required employees, always have backup employees to avoid those kind of miscommunication. Also knowledge management, maybe an handbook for future businesses would help them to really know the steps to take when they want to create the link between Yellow Pages and their website. Training and workshops. Marketing and sales team have no technical knowledge, so I think it would be just take an hour or two just to really explain them what's the system all about. So finally, just to wrap up, our three main solutions: resolve internal conflicts, integrate requirements determination, and use the pressure.
Ok. Je vais commencer. Okay. I'm not sure if it works. Yeah? Ça marche? Anyways. So you mentioned that one of the biggest issues was that human resources, change management. So aside from hiring a change management specialist, what would be your recommendation, especially that it's a 1-month time frame, what would be your recommendation to solve that problem?
The approach that we took is focusing on a headhunter, hiring a headhunting company to hire the new change management specialist. And as I mentioned before, there's a broader issue. If there's a current VP Human Resources that's already part of Yellow Pages, maybe he or she is too busy to take on all these human resources problems. So we need to hire someone new for human resources to tackle the other issues that are available, to ensure that there's no lag, cultural lag, as you mentioned before, within the organization. So hiring a headhunting company would make it easy, considering the time constraints, it would make it easy to get VP Human Resources as well as change management specialists that are missing from the project currently.
Okay. Vas-y, toi.
In the issues that you've highlighted, you've alluded to the lack of monetization and KPIs to measure success of the project. Yet in the recommendation, I didn't see any specific recommendation regarding this. Could you maybe expand on where you would want to go with these measures?
You're talking about the monetization of the new system, right?
Correct.
Well, we talked about the CPM rate. Actually, businesses that are on the Yellow Pages, they're paying a fee, and if we give those data to other people to use their data on their website, we increase their visibility. So for sure, we could implement something like a click-through rate. I don't know exactly what would be, we need to evaluate the price, but maybe per 1,000 clicks, it would be charged a couple of dollars more. So that would be one way to monetize the system.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one more question. In the beginning of the presentation, it was mentioned that in the project management issues, the methodology, which is waterfall, was part of the issues. Whereas in the recommendation, I believe it was you recommended to retain the waterfall. Can you just explain and clarify?
In the information that we were provided, it was highlighted that Yellow Pages is deciding between the two different methodologies, the waterfall methodology and the agile methodology. So it's just a matter of grammar. We're just trying to highlight that there was a discrepancy within the organization between the two methodologies. We don't believe that the waterfall methodology is an issue or flawed. We just believe that there was just some discrepancy as to which method should be used. And that's why we want to just address that issue.
In the clearly the resistance to change comes from the marketing department mostly. In your change management specialist, could you specifically talk about actions with regards with the marketing department? Like what actions with the marketing department should be taken?
In order to bring the marketing department speed with this change, there are a few things that the change management specialist could do. And a lot of the problem lies around, we believe, education. So there was no formal documentation sent out. There were like no formal internal press releases where everyone was educated on this Yellow API and what the benefits are. So part of the strategies that change management specialists can do is gather all the information required to educate everyone, bring them up to speed, and various workshops and training sessions can be held. There could possibly interactive sessions between upper management and those on the team. So maybe a meeting between the actual API team so far as well as marketing, and it'll bring them in sync together and really focus on education through the change specialist.
Okay, I'll do one more. So just to follow up on that, according to you, what would be the requirements that we would have to look for to have the best change management specialist for our situation?
So through the headhunter, where we would find someone, we believe that the change management specialist, maybe some familiarity with problems specifically related to this, as in culture lags, as well as someone who is maybe familiar with the Yellow Pages company, and someone who is probably a little more experienced, because we are working on a constricted time frame. So you would need someone coming in that really knows what to set up and to do that quickly and efficiently, as opposed to someone learning the ropes.
Good question for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.